what's going on?
Not much. Just hanging out, ready to have another conversation, as if we were just two guys talking toys.
That sounds great. And you know what I want to talk about this week? Stupid cave crickets and why they want to be in my apartment.
Yeah,
Horrendous.
those things are.
I hate
You
them.
know, I saw one the other day downstairs, and those fly zappers, the
Uh,
like basically a tennis racket that's electrified.
mhm.
I pinned him with it. It was like bop 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 bop, and I was like, yeah. Took it up,
Jerk.
left him, turned around. It was like a horror movie. Gone. He's gone.
Wow.
It was a total Michael Myers moment.
You'll never stop thinking about that. Thankfully, the one that I found was caught on a sticky pad
Yeah.
that I was considering removing because I was like, it's been a long time. I haven't seen anything. Nope, it stays there forever.
Right.
And then I yell
Oh,
at
that's good. I mean, once in a while, you're gonna get a bug into place. That's the way it happens. But that's
and then
okay.
I yell at it and try to interrogate it, like it's going to answer me. I'm like, "Where did you come from? How did you gain access to my apartment?" It's gone.
You need to use your Batman voice that he wouldn't be able to understand.
Swear to me. And
Where you come from?
it couldn't because it was dead. So even if
Right.
it had information to share, it wasn't going to.
Oh, you should have done
Help.
that Hellboy trick.
Oh yeah, that's right. Just reanimate him for a little bit.
Yeah, that would have worked. So hey, aside from having a conversation with a cricket zombie, did you get anything this week?
I have ordered things on eBay, and I know that I have a problem. Like I've always had an eBay problem,
I
but
know
now
that we have problems
but
too.
I feel like there's different tiers to said problem, and I feel like I've unlocked some kind of eBay addiction achievement because
Wow.
there is the discount uh, seller that I keep tabs on constantly. Usually around because I work second shift, this plays right into my weakness. Around maybe like 3 or so in the morning is when they start tossing stuff up on their listings. So I usually have a tab open that's constantly refreshing, and I look over and see if there's anything interesting that I might want to snag.
Right.
So they have been posting stuff at almost retail, and I was like, oh, is the intern posting things? That kind of sucks. So I actually haven't been, or for the last couple of days, I wasn't buying anything. But whoever it was must have come back that normally runs the eBay
The
page.
guy was like, "What are you doing?
Yeah.
You're isolating Tom from us."
So now they have things listed at kind of normal price, except their discount is massive. So
Oh, okay.
randomly, it's refreshing, and I see Thundercats 6-inch figure, no picture,
Okay.
basic description, $30, which is what they're going for. The Super 7 ones are going for in Target. And I
Right.
say to myself, well, I already impulse bought Monkeyin, who I had no interest in owning, except that he was on super sale a couple of days ago. So I bought him. And I'm staring at this listing, and I'm like,
Is that the
there's
one in the bubble pack?
yeah,
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 Target. Yeah, I
those are the
picked
ones that
up
are
the
hitting.
Lion-O, but he was more money than I was willing to pay for him.
He's real pale.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That was what kind of
I
that
would have paid 10 or 15 for him, but I wasn't going to pay 35 or whatever it was.
that was what gave me pause. And I actually don't own anything aside from the convention exclusive color changing Lion-O that goes from frostbite to normal. But I still need kind of a normal Lion-O. So I saw this listing, and it was regular price 50% off.
There you
So
go.
I was just like, sure, why not? And I clicked it and paid through my funds and whatever. And I sat back and I was like, I just bought an item that I don't even know what it is. Technically,
Right.
I don't know what it is. So I'll be surprised sometime. I mean, maybe I'll hold on to it and bring it on next week. So I've been doing
Okay.
a lot of eBay buying. And how much box opening are you willing to sit through today? I don't have
It's
I
not like
don't
we're
have
sitting
a
next to
whole
the
lot.
Christmas tree. I expected after that anecdote to see Lion-O or
Oh,
whatever. Like
oh,
I thought it was going to be, and this is what I ended up with, some
oh,
cheesy like
no,
knockoff.
no.
But
This happened maybe 2 days ago, so it hasn't made it to me yet. I'm still waiting for it, and I'll just be surprised.
wow,
I am
what a tease!
fascinated
What a
by this.
tease!
So this is so I started pulling these from. I have a stack of boxes, and it's beyond ridiculous at this point. And I've noticed for the last couple of weeks, I have been pulling from the top of the pile. and I need to start pulling from the bottom of the pile, or I'll just never open it. So this
So
is
you're doing like toy box Jenga?
Yeah. So this is from the bottom of the pile. It's from Walmart, so who knows what it is.
Then it's from the bottom of their heart.
Oh, hey, it's more. It's more Venoms. I don't remember. This is my problem. This is the issue with me. Why? Why do I have two Venoms? I've got a Venom, the same one. So this is multiple Venoms. Now, granted, you can't have too many. You can't have too much Venom.
Right.
Except the Venom movies. And I'm
right. Oh, we go. Now, what was your response? Are we going to see that this weekend or not?
Do you feel like experiencing blunt force trauma to the dome? Because that's fine. Fine.
We'll discuss. We'll discuss.
All right. So that's those are, although these are the retro, really cool looking Venoms.
Yeah, those are awesome.
They're one of their best bodies. So this figure is awesome. All right. So number 2. Oh, holy cow! All right. So
holy cow!
I also generally don't look at the shipping labels on these before I open them here with you. So what's interesting about this particular one is that, like, I can't show it or you'll get my address and hunt me down. Viewers,
I already know where you live, Tom.
I know. Someone's gonna scan that code and be like, there he is. I want that Venom. But
it'd just be like screaming women outside. It'd be like the old Beatles tour. That's what it would be.
That's right. It's been a hard day's night. This was sent from, and this is gonna be a real surprise. I don't remember ordering this. The booth that we went to get my gold plunderling bits and buttons.
Bits and whatever. Yeah.
This is from Bits and Buttons.
Oh, no kidding.
What is happening? That's amazing. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're looking
I can't wait to see what I won in that raffle.
Oh, yeah, congratulations on winning the raffle. That is awesome. I hope you get I hope it was for the Joker. I put in for the Mezco Ninja Turtles, and I did not win. So I'm glad one of
I put in for those.
Won.
I put in for the Ninja Turtles. I think I put in for 3 things, and I can't quite remember what they were. I know it was the Joker and the Harley Quinn, and there was a I think there was a Mythic Legions thing I put in for, and the Turtles. I don't know.
You seem really excited for the Harley Quinn and Joker, so I hope you won.
Yeah. I put most of my tickets in for those. So
yeah, I'm glad that you won, and I hope you love what you got, and I hope those guys.
Well, they're free toys. I'm not going to hate them.
You know, I like to think that sometimes you could get one where you're like, I'd actually rather just not have this.
Then I'll sell it to you.
Oh,
if it's a Venom, I know you'll buy it.
I absolutely will. Like, how much you want? Give it. It's my Masterverse Buzz Off.
Oh, nice.
Oh, I'm so excited. I didn't own this guy. I didn't get.
Oh, so you only have one of them. How? Congratulations.
And this is one that absolutely has to be troop built because that's just the nature of Buzz Off. I missed out on this guy when the pre-orders went up. Things were tight. So I canceled a bunch of pre-orders, and this unfortunately was one of the waves that I had to cancel. And he's so great, and I love the design of him from the first time he was revealed. I love that they went a little more bug with him, just like in the 2000 X series. I love that he's a little more buggish.
Yeah, and the helmet goggles bit is cool.
Yeah, these are neat. I feel like Mattel maybe isn't fully understanding how rife this series is with troop builders. Troop build Buzz Off, like release him in multiple colors. Just reverse some of the colors on this and crank him out. Give them whatever random Buzz style names. I'd be all over it. I would collect I would just buy them over and over and over and over. Dude,
nobody doubts that.
We've seen it with Venom, and it's just the same figure. Can you imagine if he was slightly different? Be all over him. Well, this is also why, even though I complain about writers being lazy and just creating their own symbiote for whatever, if they made a toy of them, I'm gonna buy it. Like they still haven't covered most of the main symbiotes. We're still waiting for. I believe I think we're still waiting for Toxin. I think, or the Toy Biz hybrid that it was just a 100% creation by
Right.
Toy Biz because he doesn't exist in the comics. We're still waiting on Scorn. I'm amazed that they made Mania, and that's great. But all right, last one, and then we're done. We're done for this week. And there's still a whole pile of stuff that's sitting over on the corner there. Oh, so speaking of troop building and my horrible, terrible suckerness of buying lots of the troop builders, did you get I think that's what this is. Did you get any of those Masterverse Horde Troopers that went on
I did not.
last week? Oh, well, I think he's still available. I think almost all of the Masterverse Mattel creation figures are still available. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, like, especially for this guy, because
he's got a removable helmet.
yes, it is very much meant.
That's strange.
It is very much meant to be a true. Holy cow, he's massive! Look at the size of this guy.
Wow.
And I think the helmet comes off. Let's find.
Yeah, I was just asking.
Yes.
It's weird that he's a troop builder, but they give him a
little generic goblin guy. You're not gonna mess with him and his.
He looks like the little guy sitting in there like a Nihilus.
It's very Hulkbuster-ish in appearance, and I'm gonna pop this head off and see if I can fit a Snake Man head on there because that's what I want.
There's problem number 2 you have. Everything's head has to come off. You're like the Queen of Hearts from Alice in Wonderland.
Listen, if so many figures and toys would look better if they just had an animal head on them. They were just anthros. It all works. So I got 3 of these because I can't help myself. And these should be troop builders. In fact, I've somewhere back there is Man of War, and his box has like these really cool kind of like white royal versions of these, and I hope they release them in the main line. Like these should be out in Target somewhere in a white and red color scheme, or even better, black and red.
Sound like a Target exclusive.
Black and red, so I can make some accurate Snake, the Horde warriors. That's what I want. All right, so now that I've eaten up a bunch of our time looking at stuff,
well, it's okay. I didn't start the timer until just a little bit ago.
So have you gotten some new stuff? You have a pile of boxes waiting to be opened?
I do have some stuff, but I'm only going to show just a couple. So one of my favorite G.I. Joe figures when I was a kid, this bad Mamma Jamma.
Yeah, buddy.
Road pig. And I was so impressed when I was a kid that the cinder block on a stick was what he would use to bash in heads. I love it. He can stay right there. Just watch it. But I love the detail of the tattoos. Like it's grade A certified pork on the arm with the anarchy and the blurry tattoo on his stomach. I think that says Thomas.
How dare you? Dare you, sir?
But he's got great detail, and he comes, unlike the original, he came with this ferocious looking pup. Yes. But again, the detail, I don't know if you can see the paws.
Oh,
the pink like toe beans on there.
It's so good.
So well done.
I'm so impressed, and I don't know if it's like just specifically the Joe team that's working all the angles and all the right ways, but the classified series has been knocking it just home run after home run after home run.
Right.
And the changes that they make to differentiate it from the original releases is so good. Like you said, like he comes with an animal now. He's got the really cool, like creepy pig mask.
Yeah.
That's like art respirator. Like it almost reminds you of the Crazies. Really good. Have you seen, and the way they tackle the animals blows my mind.
So well articulated and well sculpted.
Did you see the classics footage from New York Comic Con where we're getting a Snake Eyes that comes with a bear? Just comes with a bear.
That was episode number 1. That was episode number 1.
Oh, he comes with the radiated hands.
Yeah.
It looks so good.
I also got the Slaughter Marauders.
Now is he please tell me he's slightly upscaled so that he's like massive.
You know what? I haven't compared apples to apples.
Uh,
He
how is he next
feels
to
like
Road
he's a
Pig?
little bigger. Oh, well, Road Pig's got about 50 or 60 pounds on him, as he should.
All right. I
Yeah,
mean, yeah, I still feel like he should him and Big Boa. They just need a little
right.
size to.
Well, back in the day in the original line, Road Pig was the biggest. They
Oh,
never made a figure bigger than Road Pig. Even when they did, I think that when they made Blanca, when they
mhm.
did the Street Fighter thing,
Oh yeah.
they used Road Pig's chest and arms and
Mhm.
stuff, but they never came bigger than that. So,
We've been seeing Street Fighter figures kind of pop up all over. I would love to see them show up in the classified series.
it
I want to see
would
how they would handle them.
my only gripe with the classified series is they're doing like they did the, when they first came out, they were a little more modernized
Yeah.
soldiers, and then and now they're doing the classic looks. They should have just started with that. That's what everybody wants.
Oh,
Everybody
I
wants the cartoon. Everybody wants the GI Joe figures that we had, and
mhm.
then we were like six series in, and they're like, "Oh, well, look at this. So I'm going to give you old school Ricondo," and come in, and everyone's like, "Damn it! I already bought Ricondo. I want that one."
Yeah, that's tough. Like as a collector, just give me that. Like I get it. I get it from the whole corporate standpoint. They want to make the line last as long
Right.
as possible. But yeah, kind of just want what I want. Although I won't
And
lie.
they finally gave me, they gave me the classic Gung Ho, who was
Mhm.
my favorite. But the first one I was like, all right, it's Gung Ho, I'm gonna buy it. But I was like,
Yeah.
it doesn't look like, it doesn't have that character, Gung Ho,
Yep.
right? And then they released Gung Ho and it was perfect. And I was like, why didn't you just give me that?
Yeah. We get a lot of this in the Transformers fandom where they'll be like, here's Optimus Prime. He's super G1y, except his windows are a different color. And then you're like, well, why? And then 6 months later, like, here's that exact same mold, except now with the proper windows and no paint on damage to ruin the mold. And you're like, well, why didn't you just give me this
Right.
the first time? Like, well,
Yeah,
you have to buy more primes. That's why. Now
you
shut up and
have
buy
to.
this prime.
Right,
And then we do. Don't have any choice.
right. Uh, well, speaking of things that are vintage and we wish we had more of them, I would like to speak about, and I have my shirt on. I have Secrets
Great.
Girl in Morocco Mall. I want to talk about William Hanna and Joseph Barbera and all the great things they gave us, and how few toys there are for
Mm-hmm.
all of these classic, memorable characters that define our childhood.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't have enough toys of them.
That is very true. Now, you're gonna have to. I will follow your lead on this because I don't know if I should be ashamed or not, but I don't have any. I don't think I have any toys of any Hanna Barbera. Oh wait, no, I take it back. I have one of Space Ghost, but that was from the Coast to Coast era when
Right. And
yeah,
then Toy
and
Nami
it's
did that one back there
yeah. I have the Toy
with
Story one. I
Blip.
have the invisible one that comes in the chair, but
Right.
and that was a gift. So like I didn't even seek that one out. Every other one I've seen a few every now and then, and mostly it seems to be almost like the Rubber Slug characters
Yeah.
or
They
the
did a
Rubber
lot
Slug
of
outfit.
those, and that's how they did it. But when you think about all of the like Johnny Quest, the Flintstones, the Smurfs, I mean, they gave us Jinxie, the Wacky Racers. I mean, everybody was
Were
Hanna
the
Barbera.
were the Smurfs Hanna Barbera?
I believe so.
Okay,
I
like
may be
we've
wrong, but I'm
had
pretty sure they.
because we've had the Smurf Snorks discussion, and
Right, the
I just
Snorks were Hanna Barbera. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
okay.
And then we talked about the Flintstone kids. We talked about the Pirates of Dark Water. They were Hanna Barbera. Um,
Sure.
and Hanna
Oh,
Barbera was huge influence over Cartoon Network. A lot of
mm-hmm.
people don't know that. Like Hanna Barbera went into Cartoon Network. But I want to say, when I was a kid, I would watch Wacky Racers every Sunday, and
Yes.
and everybody wanted the Muttley laugh, right? Um, and that was like a big part of it. And then I
Mm-hmm.
think the first Hanna Barbera inspired toys I got were, of course, the Super Friends.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That
They
makes
did the Super Friends, and then the Challenge of the Super Friends, and then the
sense.
Super Friends Hour, and then whatever else came after that. They just keep renaming the show, right? Um,
You know what?
They
I've forgotten how many franchises Hanna Barbera actually had their hands on, but
a
everyone
lot.
remembers the end with the star that came at the screen, and it was all Hanna Barbera, and it just
Yeah.
became a staple. And I've forgotten how many shows and how many different properties that they actually had, both licensed because they had to license that from DC, and original properties like the first one I can think of offhand is Thundar,
Yeah.
who
And yeah, and so we grew up as little kids. I was watching, Wacky Racers and
mhm,
Jinxie and Dixie and those. And then you move to the Super Friends. And then, or sort of before the Super Friends, we had exactly what you said. We had the Herculoids. We had Thundar the Barbarian. We
yeah,
had Space Ghost and Dino Boy. We had Birdman and the Galaxy Trio. We had all of those kind of superhero franchises that never came into like other superheroes. Like they never got as big, and I don't know why.
do you know what I would love to get my hands on? And it's always a lot of it is the rosy glasses of nostalgia, kind of making you appreciate stuff for what it what it was versus what you saw it for back then.
Yeah.
I did not appreciate their Godzilla cartoon at all.
No, but I love the statues
I
and stuff that are coming out now.
Yeah, I would, but I like you go back and you listen to it. I do remember liking the theme song because probably made by a professional jingle writer. I remember loving that. I hated Godzuki with a passion, and I completely forgot so many different things about that show. I forgot about a lot of the enemy monsters,
Yep.
but how neat a lot of them were. There was
And
a
never a toy. Never a
yeah,
toy.
there's a turtle character that he fights, and of course, everyone wants to see Godzilla fight a very specific turtle monster that he'll probably never fight because Dai can't get their stuff together, or whoever
Mhm.
currently owns the Gamera franchise. But he fights this turtle that continues to grow. There's like a magnet monster. There's an electric monster. I forgot the array of powers he had. That and all these could be translated into a toy line.
Yeah.
Who who would you like to see with some of the Hanna Barbera stuff? I was going to say this is my question for the end, but there's no way to avoid talking about it now.
Right. Yeah. You know what? I wish Toynami would have done a wider release because
Mhm.
their stuff is fantastic. It
Yeah,
has that great animated look. The
hmm
figures are knocked out, dead gorgeous.
yeah,
Um, they're well articulated. They're made well. They're hefty.
hmm
Um,
yeah. The
like the
Space
Space
Ghost.
Ghost here is great.
Yeah,
This figure, it's got the hips, it's got the elbows, it's got the karate kick do.
yeah,
This figure is a little dusty, but is great. And
yeah,
when they went ahead and did the rest of them, I wish they would have just done a wider release and maybe, I'm not gonna say maybe not make the figure so fantastic, so this way they were a little bit cheaper. But it's like they made a fabulous product, but then
yeah.
they purposely limited its run so they can keep the price up. Granted, at the time it was a niche market that would have been looking for them, but I wish they would have done. There were so many really wonderful characters in Thundar the Barbarian, all of the villains with the spinning heads and everything else.
Yeah.
And I'm flashing back now as we're talking about Hanna Barbera, our conversation with Tom Cook.
Uh,
That was so great. Um, but there's such an archive of characters, and we got the some of the Space Ghost villains through the Coast to Coast line.
oh
But
yeah.
there were
See,
so many other figures like Brack and Zorak they made, but
yeah,
and Moltar, but we
hmm
could have had so many more. And then
yeah,
we didn't get the kids,
hmm
which could have also been invisible ones. Like there were so many things, and uh, Blue Falcon and Dynomutt were my
yeah,
favorites when I was a kid, and I've got the original. It took me forever. Loyal listeners, if you remember, I got excited at the show in Pennsylvania or somewhere because I got them very cheap,
hmm
and I was so excited. They're back here behind me. They were the Toynami ones. Um, so the Toynami Blue Falcon and Dynomutt, get out of the way. Ghidorah just doesn't want me to get my stuff. Fantastic
Oh,
figures.
that is good.
And I was so excited when I got them. These were like a grail
Yeah.
for me for a long time. Um, But again, so many, and all we got was Blue Falcon and Dynamite. We didn't get any of the villains or anything like that. And
Now,
they're amazing toys. I just want more.
yeah, it kind of it seems like the best that they can do is when they make guest appearances in larger franchises, like
Right.
the Scooby Doo line that came out a couple of years ago.
Yeah, the Scoob movie, right?
Yeah, and I think it had that also had like Blue Falcon and Dynamite as well. But
Yeah,
they,
that was Blue Falcon's son, though. That wasn't the original Blue Falcon.
oh, is that his son?
Yeah, which was good because they didn't ruin the character. They were able to
Uh,
make him a goofball. The thing was, like, he was a
it-
slacker who thought he'd
uh,
never live up to his father, so he didn't even try.
oh, there you go.
Yeah. But I did like that the character was reintroduced to
Mhm.
kids, even if he was introduced as a doofus at first.
Who
Um,
who made that line? That wasn't Mattel, was it?
oh, I don't remember.
I forgot who cranked those. Like, I remember
I
seeing it.
don't, but I liked the line because Captain Caveman was in
Yeah.
the line.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And what's his name? Dastardly. Uh but it was a good line. And then but before that, the 5-inch Scooby-Doo line. I love that line too.
You're right. A lot of these characters translate perfectly into a toy style. You could keep the gimmicks, or if you just made like the Space Ghost, just a really well done, really nicely articulated figure. You know who I think would handle it well? Super Seven. They're
Oh yes, the
they,
Ultimates line would be
yeah,
amazing.
their
I'd be
Disney
all over that.
their Disney Ultimates were great, and I'm sad that it ended because there were so many characters that I wish they had been able to get to before it went away. I I,
Mhm.
I would have gladly bought an Ultimates version of Scar. I but if you just looking at your shirt, Secret Squirrel done in the Ultimate style would be
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
Um,
All of them would that'd be an
yeah,
amazing line. I'd be all over it. If they did all of like Adamant, Secret Squirrel, Inch Eye, Private Eye,
mhm.
uh Ricochet Rabbit. There are so many cool characters. The speed buggy, like a big
Yeah.
speed buggy.
Oh, that would be really funny.
Zoom, 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 zoom. Like that would be so great. I would love it. And then he could do all the other wacky racers. But I
Yeah,
could never understand why Hanna-Barbera had so many. They had a Fantastic Four
yeah.
cartoon. They had that for a little while. Um, all of their cool superhero and fantasy characters
Mhm.
when we were young didn't get a toy line. I never understood it.
Yeah, it was a lot of, and it was a lot of the, if you could find them, those again those very basic, almost just one
Right.
mold slug figures, like maybe
Yeah.
stones or uh
Right. It wasn't until, like we were talking last time about the 90s when we got the
mhm,
Muppet Babies and then we got the Flintstone kids,
yeah.
right? And then Scooby-Doo had a rebirth. He kept
Mhm.
getting like there was Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? And then
Yeah,
all of the different inclinations that they had to make Scooby-Doo. And then they introduced Scrappy and
yeah.
Scooby-Dum and all the rest of them. And then but we did get in the 2000s, like mid 2000s, Todd McFarlane
Mhm.
did a Hanna-Barbera line.
Did he?
Yeah, and they were more statuesque. I have a
Of
couple of
course.
them, but they
Like
did
they
like
were.
Fred Flintstone,
Mhm.
Johnny Quest. That was a cool one.
Mhm.
Um, they did El Kabong, and
Oh, that's,
yeah, yeah, with his guitar when he'd whack people in the head, and that was actually the statue was him. It was kind of cool because the robber, because it was
yeah.
cowboy time, is like in the ground, and his guitar is whacking him, and then El Kabong is actually in the air. Like there's the
Oh, you know what?
bass, and then
McFarlane
El
always
Kabong's
has enjoyed doing stuff like that. Like
yeah,
like the current Marvel stuff that he's putting out. The I wish he would just call them statues. They're not pre-posed figures. They're just that. But I
right.
like
They're just statues,
some of
but
the
he did that really well with the Hanna Barbera stuff.
I like some of the stuff that he's doing now, like specifically the covers line that he's doing, like with
Yes,
the
yes,
flaws out and you can see the Hulk's reflection, and that Hulk he's doing where he's pulling it mimics that cover where he's
right.
pulling
And
the
it's just
and
floating. Like it's so
yeah,
well done.
and that looks really cool. So I guess it makes sense that he would have done Al Kabong that way because it's probably
Yeah.
always been in the back of his mind to do something like that, but now he's kind of perfected it. Uh,
Yeah, and that was a good line. I mean, it's a good display line. And then
mhm.
around 2012, Jazzwares did a proper Hanna-Barbera toy line with articulation.
Was that? was there a Huckleberry Hound in that line?
There was, and Huckleberry Hound
Okay.
was first introduced in 1958. That's the birthplace of Hanna Barbera, right there,
Mhm.
Huckleberry Hound. But yeah, there was Huckleberry Hound, Yogi Bear. There were a bunch of them, and they were all great. I don't have any of them, but I would like to get them. You could get them for not very much. You can find them in a box still for 30, 35 bucks.
Yeah, it seems like it's really only that wave of figures that came out in the early 2000s that has skyrocketed on the aftermarket, like the Herculoid set.
Yeah,
The
some of those McFarlane ones are going for a lot.
oh, are they?
Not a lot, but I mean
Yeah.
more than I mean, I think I picked them up when they first came out. I picked up El Kabong and Fred and a
Mhm.
couple others for, I don't know, 10, 12 bucks at Toys R Us.
Yeah.
And some of them are selling for 60, 70, 75 bucks that are in good
Mhm.
shape.
Here's
You
a question for you:
go ahead.
do you consider GoBots to be a Hanna Barbera
Yes, GoBots is a Hanna-Barbera franchise. I was
being
just ready to bring up the GoBots.
being an import and being that they were here technically before Transformers? They just happened to get overshadowed.
Yep.
Uh, I've I have always had an affinity for GoBots, and I know
Yes,
that
I
it's
love the Go. See, I was more of a GoBot kid than a Transformer
mhm.
kid.
It always annoyed me to hear, like, it's just the standard go-to joke that, oh, you got me GoBots instead and I hate these or whatever. And unfortunately, even in the new Transformers 1 movie, there's a moment where Alita 1 calls, the uh uh I've I'm frozen. She refers to people as GoBots. And I was like, oh, really? We're not past this yet? Come
Mm.
on. I feel like
Wait,
they
who?
established that GoBots can be super duper cool. And if you look at the later toy line, they are super cool. We have to
They
do a
are.
full episode on GoBots, so
We
I'll
will,
stop
because
going
I
on.
want an opportunity to talk about how cool Zod Monster is.
But the cartoon, I remember being like, for its time, one of their better put together ongoing episodic series.
Yeah,
Things connected from episode to episode. There was a continuing storyline. You had strong women characters. The cast was surprisingly diverse, and everyone was, I don't know. I thought everyone was kind of cool. Yes, they had stupid plans, but nothing Psykill did was any dumber than Cobra Commander or Decompose.
now, no,
I
that's the Cobra
I
Command.
maintain
Genius.
just just paint Psykill in a Cobra in like Cobra colors, and they'd get along just fine.
I have my little knockoff Psykill right here.
Man, I wish all the red tape surrounding that series would just evaporate so that Hasbro can just get to town, or Takara can get to town just designing us some
Yeah,
proper GoBots to be in the line.
I liked the GoBot toys. And this is the Psykill was one of the coolest ones, of course, because he was
Mhm,
the bad guy, right? And
mhm,
Leader One kind of had that lame-o, like Captain America, boring bad guy. I mean, superhero thing going on.
mhm.
But Psykill was cool, but I did like that they did like Psykill, who was little, and then they did the big one. Remember the
Yeah,
big metal
Super
one?
GoBots were
The
awesome.
same thing for Leader One.
Did you ever get any of the monogram models?
No, I did
I
not.
ne- I never had any, and I was never a big fan of how different they looked from the GoBot designs that I was used to seeing.
Right, yeah. And that I'm a traditionalist, so I really wanted them to look like the toy that I had, right? I wanted
Yeah,
them to look like this Psykill is fantastic because it looks like Psykill. It looks exactly like I remember him being.
I I
So
do.
he's not Psykill, he's like motorcycle robot man or
Yeah,
something.
it's usually like Cycle Robo or Motor Robo or something along those lines.
Yeah,
I do like that Hasbro has been very sneaky about slipping a few into their main line. Like, if you're not
yeah,
if you're unless you have a keen eye, or unless you're actively looking for it, you're not going to notice. But they've slipped them in. And they've been doing this for years.
yeah,
Most notably has been Crasher, because she's the favorite because she's one of the best characters ever, like, just ever. Uh,
yeah.
and she's been popping up randomly in the line. They renamed her Fracture, but in the last, there was a Walmart line that was called I think the Velocitron 5000. That is also in Transformers 1, and it's just a giant race. But
Right.
one of the figures they released is they decided to go with a repaint of Mirage for her, probably because of the slighter build,
Mhm.
the easier look, and then they changed the colors to black and white instead of her more like black overall color scheme. But I believe in the last release of her, she's just called Crasher. which is
Yeah,
awesome.
that's cool.
I
That's
like
awesome.
that as a nice bold step. What I would love to see them do though is take any Seeker mold or any of the aerial bot molds, but preferably Silverbolt, because I maintain that Leader 1 should be large. Repaint any of those into Leader 1. It's just gray and black. Just do
Yeah,
it. And then I don't want them to get sued, but maybe just get sued. See what
right.
happens. See what happens.
So you'll get a cease and desist letter. You just
Yeah,
stop afterwards, right?
just do one. I want Leader 1, and I want him to be a large jet. And I think
Right.
that'd be awesome.
You know what? People also forget Hanna Barbera took on some licenses that were a little weird, right? They took on some Laverne and Shirley,
Did
Happy Days. Yeah. They did the Gary Coleman
a
show.
tune.
Yeah, they did Gary Coleman. They
Mm-hmm.
did Mork and Mindy.
Mm-hmm.
And then they kind of went off the rails a little bit with some of their stuff because they had the Three Stooges cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
And then they rebooted it at some point, and the Three Stooges were cybernetic. Like they had
Oh,
stretchy arms.
was
Like
this in the 90s? This sounds like a 90s
no,
thing.
it wasn't the 90s.
Huh.
It was really they went off the rails. And like so they turned the Three Stooges into like crime fighting cyborgs.
Oh
And they would
no.
always like so I think it was Larry had like mechanical stretch arms, you know what I
Uh,
mean? Like almost
yeah.
like Doc Ock stuff, but he would
Mhm.
get twisted up and
Of course.
turned, and of course, because they were the Three Stooges,
Just
right?
the
And
suits.
then they were going to do a sequel to the Jetsons
Mhm.
when Elroy and what's her face, I can't remember his daughter's name.
Oh, Judy.
Judy, yeah, Judy and Elroy had grown up, so they were going to do
Mhm.
sort of like when they did Pebbles and Bam Bam when they
Yeah.
grew up. They were going to follow that same suit, but
Mhm.
somebody had the idea that instead of doing so, they kept the Jetsons backdrop, time frame, vehicles, but instead they took the Jetsons car and made it plaid, like the Partridge Family bus,
Oh no.
and they made the Partridge Family 2022.
Oh no.
So Danny Bonaducci came back. I don't know if they came back, but yeah. So it became the Partridge Family 2022.
That's really weird. But you know, it's
Yeah.
definitely in
So
line
there
with
was
all
sometimes you're
the
like,
stuff they were
all right,
doing.
all right. Yeah. So, I guess Pebbles and Bam Bam didn't inspire them well enough.
The Jetsons is one of those shows that again also would have benefited from a toy line, especially when she started to get into the later
Right.
seasons with Rosie and Rosie's boyfriend
The Jazzware
and Orbity.
2012 bit did Rosie. They
Oh,
did a
did they?
really good one too, and I want to
Uh-huh.
get it.
Oh, that is awesome. Yeah, it's kind of too bad they didn't get to do any of the other ones. I probably would have bought a toy of Orbity, who just looked like a weird variant of a Mogwai with the with,
Yes.
with the springy legs. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I would have gotten one of those. They were neat.
He did. Yeah, I agree with you though that the Super 7 Ultimates should get in on the action and do this because it's an extensive library. I
Yeah.
mean, you've got decades and decades. I mean, 40 some odd, almost 50 years of characters to pull from. And if they did, some of the big names, of course, if they did
Mhm.
Scooby-Doo and those, but Herculoids, uh, the all of them would do well, especially if they did the superhero ones first and
Yes.
then started doing, the more cartoony, goofy ones.
Mhm.
I think that'd
I
be
would love
awesome.
to see them tackle those because
So
like I said, there so many of the cartoons just by nature had like the crazy gizmos. Again, going back to Secret Scully, they always had like the weird gizmos and a lot of gimmicky things that would translate well into a toy line.
yeah,
So even if Super 7 didn't get it, you had someone like Mattel doing it.
right. Even if they just did Johnny Quest.
Yeah.
There was a reboot of Johnny Quest in the 90s talking about Hanna-Barbera being
Mhm.
influential with Cartoon Network.
Yeah.
Um, they did a Johnny Quest in
Mhm.
the like I don't know early to mid 90s on Cartoon Network. I don't know if it wasn't the New Adventures of Johnny Quest because they had done, Hanna-Barbera does that. There was Johnny Quest and then the New Adventures
Yeah.
of Johnny Quest and then I don't know the even newer or the further adventures of Johnny Quest. And it was all the same characters. They hadn't grown up. It was Johnny, Jesse, and the Doc and Ray Spannon, and they were you know, globe-trotting millionaires as they are.
Mhm.
But they had their villain was in the Cyberverse, like
Yeah,
all of the 90s stuff. So
or
it was regular animation, and then they would go into the Cyberverse,
mhm.
and then it was CGI animation in the Cyberverse. So
Okay.
during the show, the animation style would flip back and forth,
Mhm.
which was pretty cool. I liked it.
You know, I'm thinking about
And they made toys for that. They did. They were like little
other.
3-inch figures. Yeah, and they came in bubble packages, and they had different. Like there was astronaut Johnny, and
Mhm.
Race Bannon had his, you know, military outfit, and then his classic black T-shirt outfit. But they were pretty cool. I wish they were bigger. If they had made like a
Yeah.
4-inch, but they're like 2.5 inches. But if they had
Mhm.
done them in a 4-inch scale, it would have been cool. But it also came out in that mid 90s where everything jumped up to the 6-inch scale.
Yeah.
So the line was very
Mhm.
short-lived, but it was pretty cool. I enjoyed the show, and I enjoyed the toy line.
Now, so now, knowing that McFarlane has made some Hanna Barbera figures in the past, now that I I've just learned this, knowing that he's done this, would you be opposed to him doing it now? And I ask this because there is a series of crossover comics that DC did, and I don't know if this comes from their previous collaboration with Hanna Barbera, but there are random comics, and I need to find the actual issues where Hanna Barbera characters are in the DC universe. Like Fred Flintstone, a version of Fred Flintstone is
Hmm.
in DC recounting about how like him and his family are outcasts because they live in a traditional family setting. And in prehistoric
Like the
times,
Amish.
that would be ridiculous because cavemen,
Wow.
based on all the cavemen jokes, like
Right,
that
yeah.
would hit the woman on the head and drag her into a cave. Fred lives in a house with his wife, and that's it. And they're like, "You guys are sick." And they're
Right.
outcasts. But I've seen a bunch of different.
And did it look like Fred?
Yes, like maybe a little bit more realistic, not like Goodman level realism, but
Right,
fit in with the comic. Like he didn't look like Hanna Barbera drawing, but he also
right.
didn't look hyper realistic. Like he fit in with that
Nice.
art style. But I've seen a couple of these, including what my favorite was Top Cat.
Top
They were
Cat. I love
they were.
Top Cat.
I thought he was awesome, and they're talking to
I
him.
love his theme song too. It's fantastic.
He was kind of a scumbag. Like he had turned in, I think with Batman. I think Batman was interrogating him, and he talks about how like he had to like let his friends go to like save himself. And I was like, oh yeah, I mean he was kind of, if you think about it, he was kind of a jerk. He was a little bit
Top
of a.
Cat? Yeah, yeah, yeah. He was a little sleazy.
I did like
He's an
that.
alley cat.
I, yeah, like that was kind of his whole gimmick. I did like that he was, I guess, kind of like the Charlie from Charlie's Angels. From, do you remember Fantastic Voyage or Fantastic Adventures?
Yes.
But he was like the guy in charge, and I was like, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
Top
that
Cat
makes sense.
guy giving the
Yeah,
orders
he would
everyone.
have that kind of Nick Fury, like, where is he morally kind of thing. Yeah.
But would you be opposed to McFarlane because he's done these before? Apparently,
Right. I wouldn't be
I would.
opposed to anybody doing them, to be
Mhm.
honest with you. If Jazzwares took another shot at them, I just want them, and I want them done in such a way that they're affordable and
Yeah.
that you can, again, it's a huge, huge library of characters. I don't know who wouldn't want to do it. It's kind of like the Ninja Turtle franchise. Like you could make figures
Mhm.
forever and
Yeah.
never hit bottom, right?
Yeah.
It's that kind of thing. It's
And,
a, and I
and,
don't know why they're not doing it.
I agree that I if someone was to make them, I just want them available and for them to be affordable, because one of the saddest things is that those Godzilla statues that are made of the Hanna Barbera version of Godzilla are so prohibitively expensive.
Yeah.
I just want I do want a large one. Like I want them to be big, but I don't really want to pay more than $60 for them.
Right. Yeah, that's fair.
I don't need a statue. I would even purchase Godzuki if it came with
I saw the statue of God. No, it wasn't such. Remember,
Mhm.
I think he was in the buttons and bits and buttons thing where you said that's what my Godzilla collection looks like now, and there was
Oh yeah,
there was a Godzuki in there. There was a
was
Godzuki in there. Yeah.
yeah. I I think the only other one that I've seen or that I remember seeing, I think it was in Time Warp, where it was another statue, and it was
Yeah, it
not.
was a statue.
They had no real proper scale to them.
Right.
I also forget that there was a quote unquote female Godzilla in that show. She was little. She was kind of a pale greenish gray, And he
Yep.
had the very traditional pink bow.
Pink bow.
And like,
Yeah, the pink bow. That's
you know,
all I remembered when you said. As soon as you said it, I was like, "Oh, the pink bow."
of course. But now, with the magic of nostalgia, if they were to make a toy line of that, like a main Godzilla toy from
Right.
Hanna Barbera, with maybe like some laser eye effects, got
Right.
Yuki and the kid, I'd buy them.
I can't believe NECA hasn't just done it. Right?
You
Because
would
they have all the other Godzillas, right? And why not do it? Would be so much fun. Like, and
it,
that's the American license, right? They should be able to get that easy. Like, why wouldn't they just do it? It would be
it's
fun. It would sell.
it's a small, concise line. It'd be very quick.
Yeah.
They don't have they're not weighed down by other properties like gargoyles, which I'm convinced they've given up on.
Yeah, it sounds like
Do
it.
do Godzilla. Just do a
Yeah.
couple. Just crank out a couple and see how they sell.
Yeah.
And especially since they've proven they can do it in the animated style.
They have absolutely, they have proven that. So they need to do it. Well, we're coming up to a point where I'm just going to say, thanks for letting me have this time to reminisce about Hanna Barbera, which is one of my favorite things to talk about. If you let me, I'd go on for 4 more hours. So, but it wouldn't be about toys because we haven't gotten enough of them. It would just be about the cartoons.
We've all got our favorites, so I cut
Yeah.
myself off on the GoBots.
Right.
No,
Yeah. Although I wouldn't talk about the Ed Grimley cartoon. That was Hanna Barbera.
was that them?
Yeah.
Not their best work, but they can't all be winners.
That's right. They can't all be McGillicuddy Gorilla.
All right, so I want to end this on a question.
You asked me 4 already.
Yeah,
Okay.
I already burned through my question. You can only pick one franchise from Hanna Barbera to bring back in an action figure form that of your choosing. Who do you pick?
Oh, hands down. I mean, Herculoids. I mean, that's a no-brainer because then you're going to get the creatures as well. You know what I mean? You're going to get and every time the Herculoids had seemingly the whole planet to themselves, right? Except for like some mole people and these people, and people would just crash on the planet, and the Herculoids would show up and chase them away. They're nothing really than just a grumpy neighbor. They're just a grumpy neighbor. They're like, get off my lawn, and then they chase everybody away. But all those creatures that would land and all that, like there's a good line there if you wanted to make them.
Yeah.
Here's the hard part about making a Herculoids. You'd need a play set.
That is true.
With like bungee cord vines. Remember they would run along the vine and shoot them to another vine and then they'd run that way. Like it made no sense. Why were they doing that? But you'd have to be able to zip them around from vine to vine.
I agree. My updated franchise would have to be Hong Kong Phooey.
Yes, they made them. Jazzwares made them. Jazzwares made them, as did McFarlane. Yeah.
Wow, I completely missed out on him.
Yeah.
I want someone else to do him now because I want him in the janitor outfit. I want him in the karate gi.
And you like that guy as a voiceover guy.
Yeah, I want the cat companion and I want the silly car.
Yes.
Give me all those. We don't need the intro. The intro is not okay today. But give me all the characters. Give me Hong Kong Phooey. There was I want to say like the early 2000s. There was a really cool fan animation that somebody did of like a modernized version of him, where it was almost like a He-Man style thing, where he's a janitor and a bunch of like evil ninjas show up to terrorize. What did he work at, like a school?
Yeah, he's a school channel.
And then he dipped into the closet. You saw lightning flash and appear, and he popped out his awesome Hong Kong Phooey and did kung fu on them.
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind something like that either. Give me a 6-part Netflix series is always my default go-to.
Right, because seemingly they'll just do anything. So.
Yeah, and it just has to last for one. You just need one season because that's as long as anything lasts, and then they cancel it. So yeah, let's do that.
All right, I'll get my people on it.
Sounds good. So, listeners and watchers, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Get your people on it. If you want to tell us who those people are, you can get a hold of us on Twitter. Our handle is 2 Guys Talking Toys. That is the number 2, no G after the talking. Same thing for Gmail. Our Instagram is 2G Talkin' Toys. I hope you like the video. Subscribe to the video. Send it to your friends. Send it to Hanna Barbera and possibly Todd McFarlane and or Super 7. And let's get the ball rolling on some Hanna Barbera figures.
Yes, and I'm currently accepting applications for people.
All right, so until next week, take care, everybody.